Hello, everybody. Welcome to another daily dose of gaming news and all that good stuff. And as always, I also publish on Rumble, on Patreon for access support and any kind of updates and the such. I usually go about on Twitter X. Yesterday, I did manage to publish another Jusan episode. I already recorded the demo gameplay, Chains of Freedom or Freedom Change. No, Chains of Freedom, I think it's called. Very interesting turn-based game, very similar to between XCOM 2 and Mutiny or Zero Road to Eden, kind of a in terms of the gameplay mechanics, and it has its own story, which is not anywhere near of those two games there. Um, yeah, other than that, just a quick reminder that I already have completed gameplay series here, and I'm trying my best to keep with demo stuff there. And again, I need to arrange time to start recording another gameplay series. A lot of interesting stuff that I already bought recently from a lot of the gaming deals that I'm presenting, and also yeah, new games also that are seem pretty good. Mainly Clair Obscure Expedition 43. I really want to jump into that game as soon as I can, but yeah, it's lack of free time to do so. So let's go to the news. Not much per se happening, but interesting on the industry itself. We got now Taiwan. Now comes again comes after relatively saying regarding TSMC's technology transfer. This comes after again basically the at this moment the Trump administration and the tariff games, let's say, because again it's almost goes for a zero sum gain in certain instances, and in others it just I don't know, trying to bully or pressure how a lot of people say on other countries with tariffs, which again are my opinion and experts' opinions. Basically, the gist is a tariff is basically a tax that is imposed on the consumers of the country that import whatever from other countries. It's basically that. It's an extra tax that it's always going to be passed to the consumer because again, even in multinational corporations, it's not going to be the company that is going to bear the burden of the tariff itself. That cost is always going to pass through to the consumer, even though uh, I suppose that in certain instances, if well played, the tariff game can be something more on the protectionist side of things for a country to avoid imports and try to boost local investments and productions of whatever they are tariffing on. But yeah, this comes about regarding TSMC, which is like the bleeding edge technology company regarding chip manufacturing. Again, from Apple, iPhones, handhelds, PC computers, PC components, sorry, and everything in between. Yeah, there was before they loosen up a little bit the restrictions. There was kind of, I think, certain laws that prohibit any kind of technology transfer, which is basically TSMC to invest in other countries on manufacturing this kind of technologies. But they seemingly loosen up a little bit. But now the legislator there in Taiwan is a little bit worried of not being protectionist enough, let's say, to the same extent, to a certain degree, that I suppose the Trump administration at this moment is trying to do something like that. There is that Arizona fab that TSMC is supposed to build there, invest a lot of money there. But I think they passed now on Taiwan something that will prohibit it, like everything that it's the bleeding edge technology to be exported, that know-how and the manufacturing processes to other countries. At least that's for now. It seems what they are trying to do here, which is interesting. Again, it's a matter of trying to protect their own, I don't know, know-how and knowledge and qualified engineers and all that jazz that do all the work that needs to be done to manufacture those chips that everybody every year wants to have. Uh, and it ranges for basically everything. Even though lately, and in this channel, we focus more on DIY PC stuff there, from CPUs, GPUs, and everything in between there. But yeah, I think they are trying to protect their own IP, let's say, of how to do the bleeding edge in terms of chip manufacturing. But yeah, interesting enough, before that there was like the, as I said, the zero tolerance for this. But again, I don't know. Again, this has a lot of policy stuff involved, I assume. I think there was supposedly United States was and still is pressuring Taiwan in a certain way to rebel against China mainland in several ways, and one of these, which is one of the concerns in terms of what they call um, the policy in terms of national security, is not to be that much dependent on foreign countries to have chip manufacturing dependency there. But yeah, we'll have to wait how this will go. I will assume, for example, if TSMC is working on the 2 nanometer chips. That is something that for sure is not going to be transferred to any other factories abroad. I will assume they are at this moment working on 4 nanometers, and possibly they will be able to introduce the 3 nanometer manufacturing process. But everything that it's recent, I think is going to be focused on Taiwan. Again, I think again it's a protectionist policy, let's say, and we'll have to wait and see how this will be affecting commerce and all that jazz between the countries. Again, given that supposedly one of the most demanding markets for the high-end chips is United States. But also, again, this is a little bit of tug of war in terms of economic and financial policies between United States and China. We'll see how this will go. But yeah, so far it seems that Taiwan did pass some laws to prevent the escaping of this technology transfer there, which is always very interesting. And continuing with technology, we got another hot fix from NVIDIA. Again, it seems that the latest hotfix that they launched didn't fix a lot of stuff. Again, NVIDIA is again, this launch of the 5000 series is not going good, especially not only from the hardware side of things. We got from the 5090s, 80s, and even in some cases 5070s, from the missing ROPs, and then we got also from the software support side of things, which is the driver stuff of the NVIDIA app. Again, the introduction of these drivers is fucking around with from the most recent 50 series to even older ones, 40 and even 30 series. But yeah, they have to again release a second hotfix, which is something very rare for the NVIDIA app, and supposedly is addressing more 17 fixes from Black Myth Wukong randomly crashing, the things with the flickering screens and black screens with certain kind of monitors, depending on what kind of connection you are using. Also, with the thing regarding multi-monitor setup. Again, Red Dead Redemption 2, a lot of games just crashing or flickering and doing random stuff there. Yeah, they are continuing here. We don't see the same thing from AMD. Again, there is still some kind of perception that AMD drivers are a shit show, which they are not. Which they are not. I don't remember having any kind of issues with AMD drivers since I have the AMD GPU 7900 XTX for about, it's going to be 2 years now, in the summer. But it's been a while since they kind of put their things together, AMD, regarding software support for their own GPUs, and they've been adding features and a lot of stuff, and it's being relatively smooth. The implementation of all the the driver updates that they're being bringing and delivering. So again, it's funny enough. Everybody was joking around with AMD drivers, and again, they dropped the ball from NVIDIA part. And this, again, especially this 50 series launch, again, it shows the lack of concern of delivering a good product package for the DIY consumers. And again, it seems even with their focus on the AI server stuff, it's not going that well. A lot of complaints, even though we don't see that much, but there is some reports here and there that companies are with their feet a little bit behind in jumping in especially buying this new AI stuff. They are sticking more or trying to stick more with proven solutions, even from NVIDIA, like older solutions, and even again from AMD AI side of things. Their solutions that they have, they have some preference there. Again, a little bit because of NVIDIA, how they did some shenanigans. I covered this a few months ago when they wanted to launch this new Blackwell server thing. Um, some companies pre-ordered stuff, but then Nvidia had to delay the delivery of the things. And if the companies start to complain, they were shadow banned, let's say, in terms of deliveries, in terms of the queue of deliveries. And if they mention anything that they will try then AMD, they were completely and then removed from the client list, let's say. Again, this kind of practices that really doesn't, in terms of compounding effect, doesn't help anything. And then you got the launch that, yeah, it's not that good. Plus the fact that Nvidia, as I said almost a year ago, that they seem to be heading on kind of an Apple kind of mentality, which is if you have NVIDIA, you cannot have dedicated engineers to fix issues, to do maintenance. Everything has to be done by NVIDIA. Very closed loop systems that are not compatible with third party stuff there. Again, we don't see also a lot of open source stuff coming from NVIDIA. We've been seeing that more from AMD. Uh, Again, I don't know. They have to really pull their thing together there and see how it goes, especially starting in terms of the DIY market. Starting with this refresh with the Super Series or TI Series, again with the Super Series more, to see if they can deliver something more competitive. And again, software is very important because you can have, or else you might as well have a brick in your PC case. But yeah, we'll have to wait how they are going to solve this situation throughout this year. In terms of games, got another Wuchang Fallen Feathers kind of pre-order trailer here. This is for PlayStation, the trailer here, but the game will come to PC. And with that said, we already have also some information regarding the PC specs. Again, this is going to be an Unreal Engine 5 game, which worries me a little bit more. Again, we've been seeing a lot of games, I don't know, from at least a couple of years from now. Some of them are very well polished, but there is always a kind of underlying persistent issue, which is basically CPU overload. Again, if the game is not very well tuned on delivering optimizations in terms of the PC CPU side of things, it can be a stuttering mess. I just hope that this game comes. Again, I'm expecting great things about this game. I just hope that the game comes as well optimized as it can, given it is Unreal Engine 5 game. Again, it's a little bit heavy. Again, for recommended, again, given the specs here, I assume is 1080p, high definition settings, 60 frames per second or about that, which is a 12600 KF or a Ryzen 7600X, which is a very recent CPU. Then they recommend 32 gigabytes of memory. Dual channel configuration is recommended. Again, I don't know how you can miss not having a dual channel configuration on the RAM side of things. But yeah, on the GPU side, at least this is GTX. Supposedly, it's a RTX 3070 or a 6750 XT. Again, I think the minimum, again, 8 gigabytes, I think you're going to encounter with a lot of issues playing 1080p, higher settings, trying to reach 60 frames per second. with this kind of GPU. I think something more in line with 12 gigabytes for 1080p might be a better option if you can. But yeah, this is what we got. Again, I hope that this game is pretty good. Again, the price seems to be on point, which is $50 for the standard edition. There is a deluxe edition, which is $10 more, which brings like the usual stuff, which is costumes and some weapons and the such. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see how this goes. I'm expecting good things out of this game. Seems very interesting. Kind of, I think it's kind of a Souls-like kind of a game, but the story bit seems to be very intriguing, let's say. But yeah, regarding this game, let's see when it comes on July 24th. Then we got yesterday some news. 30 million tarnished bought the game from Elden Ring. Again, it's a huge milestone. Again, just shows when you do an excellent game, the sales will come. Again, it's been 3 years since it launched, if not mistaken. Yeah, 2022. Yeah, 3 years and a change. Around the same time, no, as June 2024, they had 25 million units sold. So between June last year and now April, they sold 5 million more units, which is very, very impressive. There is a lot of games that will like to sell 5 million units on their lifetime cycle of the game. But yeah, and it's very rare to encounter Elden Ring or any kind of From Software game on the deal. But yeah, that shows that they are. I think the bulk of these sales are from full price, plus the fact that Elden Ring has the Shadow of the Tree with which adds a lot of more content and delves deep a little bit more on the lore. It's one of those expansions that I do recommend if you play Elden Ring one of these days, or if you already played and you're just waiting to see. I don't know, for a deal for Shadow of the Tree again, even at full price, I do really recommend. It's kind of Elden Ring size kind of a DLC. Yeah, it's interesting, and I'm happy because an excellent game from an excellent developer does did or is doing well in terms of sales there. And then continue with From Software, we got Nightreign. They started wrapping up a little bit more in terms of the marketing stuff there. I think the game comes on May. I don't know. I'm not sure. It's coming very soon. And we got now PC system requirements. Again, this I assume is the same engine that Elden Ring, at least the same version of the engine. Again, it's not very heavy to play 1080p, so that's why the PC specs here are not that high. Even an Intel Core i5 11500 or even a Ryzen 5600 supposedly is good enough. I assume this is 1080p, 60 frames per second, 16 gigabytes of RAM. It's supposedly good enough. And in terms of graphics, GTX 1070 or even a Vega 56, as long as they have at minimum 8 gigabytes, should be good enough to play the game. But yeah, for only 40 gigabytes of storage. Again, this is kind of a thing of the game that is going to be more focused on co-op, given that the other game that they announced, oh my god, I forgot the name, for the Nintendo Switch exclusive for the moment. It's more multiplayer focus in terms of PvP VE, if not mistaken. This is more a co-op game kind of experiment, but I think it's going to do pretty well. And I think the one of the things they are more focused here is they're tweaking around on the formula of trying to see the systems and trying to experiment with co-op and how they can interact that in future games. That's the perception they have, and they are also trying to a certain degree, experiment with PvP stuff on the blood of the Dustborn, Blood Dusk or something like that. Again, I completely forgot the name of the game. For the Switch, I think they're trying to experiment more on the PvP side of things and with some flavor on the PvP VE also. I think that this is going to be a good experiment. They can have the luxury of doing that while they are cooking on the next big game, being Elden Ring 2 or another Dark Souls or a completely different IP. But yeah, it's interesting to see what they are trying to do there with these two games that will be upcoming relatively soon. The Night Rain is going to be a month or so or less or something like that. I completely also forgot the launch date. And also again the other game for the Nintendo Switch. Again, I'm not paying too much attention. I watched the cover and I did the coverage when they did the Nintendo Switch 2 showcase or whatever they are called. But yeah, because it's an exclusive there, I'm not going to pay too much attention to that. If there is an announcement coming to PC or even consoles, I might be do a little bit more coverage there. But yeah, this is what I got in terms of games. So let's go for some gaming deals. We still have Alien Isolation. It's 80% off. Again, I do recommend this game. I did way back then a gameplay series of this game, and I do recommend even today's time. Again, excellent game. I really did enjoy it, and even the collection. I think it's a good package there. It offers different stuff, added the modes and the such and challenges that seem very interesting on the mechanics that they did from the main game. We got Expedition 33 or Clair Obscure. Again, an offering of 10% off for the game here. Again, it's getting overwhelmingly positive feedback from everybody. We got also Deadlight. Again, this is a smaller game. I do recommend at this price point, and I also did a gaming series on this one a long time ago. I think it's one of the first games that I did publish on the channel as a series, and yeah, it's an enjoyable experience, and I do recommend it. Again, you can check out the first episode to have an idea what this game is about. We got Death Stranding. Director's Cut is on sale, 50% off. Again, I need to restart playing this game again. A lot of games that I need to play or that I need no that I want to play, but I'm lacking time here. We got also Liza P, or which is 40% off on the base game. Again, it's one of those again that I really want to dive one of these days. We got Lords of the Fallen. This is the most recent version 2.0, which has a lot of they did a lot of rework from animations to tighten up the combat movement and all that jazz. And it's 67% off the base game and also the deluxe edition. We got Miasma Chronicles 50% off. Again, this is kind of the spiritual successor of Mutant Year Zero Road to Eden. Again, different universe, but the mechanic seems to be very much in line the same way that Mutant Year Zero was. So it's I think it's a very interesting one. Then we got Near games on sale. So Near Replicant 60% off, and then Near Automata 60% off. Again, it's one of those that I want to start also working and doing a gaming series. We got Pacific Drive 40% off on the deluxe edition. We got Resident Evil franchise is on sale. I will be leaving all the Resident Evil games on the description below, so you can pick and choose and complete your collection there. We got Tomb Raider franchise is still on sale. It's there isn't a package here. There is this one, Survivor Trilogy Edition. Okay, it's on. I will leave this one. It's all the free games, the GOTY editions with all the DLCs and all the stuff there included. It's very cheap. It's around $11 or so, and I do recommend this trilogy. Then you got the Rise of Tomb Raider, Shadow Tomb Raider, and then we got the Thaumaturge, which is 40%, 45% off. Again, it's a turn-based game in terms of battle, but it's more focused on the detective side of things, which is very interesting. And again, it has a lot of paranormal stuff there. It seems a very interesting game, and again, very positive feedback from everybody. So I think it's good to go. And then lastly, we got War World. Again, this game is a must play if you like kind of pixel art with some elements of tower defense, mining, roguelike elements. Again, it's a lot of stuff in one package, and I do recommend, even at full price, and at this moment is 75% off. I do recommend buying the DLC, which is Deep Threat. Again, it's also just $1.50 or so for this DLC. Expands a little bit on the story, and also expands on the upgrades and the such. And I think it's a very good addition to the main game there. But yeah, I do recommend this game. I play by myself. Again, it's a very interesting game there. But yeah, I'll wrap up here for today with a plug on my Patreon for access support. The access support is more line for me to be able to try eventually get a better storage solution so I can have backups of the stuff that I do for my clients. And of course, some extra storage for the videos that I do for the channel. And with all that said, I hope you have a wonderful day. I'll see you in the next one. So until then, Kunamy Master out.